What is going on? My PC boy Versatile is back with another video, back here to talk about how PlayStation almost ended itself before the PS4. Yes, as the title suggests, PlayStation had a hard time, and I think we all know when that was. But I actually found this article that dropped actually today, and it's a reference to a documentary coming out soon about PlayStation. It's called From Bedrooms to Billions, PlayStation Evolution. And so the movie's dropping in September, like September 4th or September 7th, somewhere around that time on demand and like somewhere else. But the point is that there was a former executive that used to work for them, and it's talking about a time period in which PlayStation almost lost themselves. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys ignite that like button on this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. This is the gaming channel, baby. And hit that notification bell so that way you stay informed when I drop videos. Yes, YouTube will not let you know when I drop the video unless you hit that notification button. Those are the times we live in right now. All right, let's get into the video. So the former executive used to work at PlayStation for about 10 years. And matter of fact, let me start recording my screen. So let me go ahead and pick that up right now, so that way I can put this in the video. Boom. No sound. Start recording. Skip countdown. All right. So PlayStation could have been the end, or the PlayStation 4 could have been the end for PlayStation. Why is that? Well, as the article goes on to say, Shahid Ahmad, who worked over 10 years at PlayStation, talks about a time period when Sony was really feeling themselves, like really feeling themselves. And I think we all know what that time period was. It's hot off the heels of the PlayStation 2 success. When PlayStation 3 was coming out, Sony was so, for lack of a better term, arrogant, very prideful about their winnings, and felt like nothing could bring them down. And that's why the PlayStation 3 started the way it did. Too high of a price, had so much power and potential in that machine. But Shahid Ahmad says that it was painful trying to draw out that actual potential from the PS3. And as we know, the PS3 was not the best year or best generation Sony had with PlayStation. But in his own words, he says that PlayStation was a hubristic organization, and they needed to be humbled, create more passion, and be excited about their product. Now, let's look up hubris real quick. Not that I don't know, but just so we all know what this is. Excessive pride or self-confidence. So yes, I basically said that before. Sony was so feeling themselves with the PlayStation 2 that they thought they could do no wrong to the PS3. And I think we all know what happened with the PS3. Xbox destroyed them with the 360. They really did. And had PlayStation not learned their lesson with the PS3, whether it was, I mean, think about what the PS3 actually went through. Like when it first came out, it was like what, $500? Way too high, right? Xbox came through, or Microsoft came through and undercutted them by at least $100. Then the potential that it had was you could run your own operating system on it. The thing was touted to have so much power. A couple updates later, what happened? You can no longer put your own operating system on there. A lot of people like to try to put Linux on their PlayStation 3. You couldn't do that anymore. They transformed that machine through so many updates that people actually didn't kind of like for the PS3. Now let's talk about the games. What, Killzone? We know Uncharted came through with 1, 2, and 3. And then at the end of the generation, you had The Last of Us. And then at the end of the PlayStation 4 generation, we got The Last of Us as well. But let's take for a moment, let's say that PlayStation didn't learn their lesson. Shahid Ahmad feels like the PS4 could have been the end of PlayStation, because had they not changed their ways, changed their attitudes towards not just themselves, but the gaming world and the players of the gaming console, they would have went into the PS4 with the same attitude, would have lost again, and it could have really, really hurt PlayStation's brand. And we know this to be true. Look at what happened with the PS3. A lot of people were down the PS3. People give the 360 a ton of credit, and it's simply because Sony didn't come through with the PS3. Every other year that Sony has been out, Sony has came through, whether it's PlayStation original or the PS1, the PS2, or the PS4. PlayStation has come through and completely dominated. And the one time that they gave Microsoft breath, they gave them a lot of breath. And thus 360 completely dominated and was almost ready to try and take on the PS4 itself. But Shahid Ahmad, as he said, had to go through a cultural change. Yes. I'm just saying. I'm glad they did. Why? Because look at what we got with PlayStation 4. They turned into making fun of themselves a little bit, as Shahid Ahmad said. You know, when you talk about how to share games, the classic video that they did, you could tell that their energy was more warm towards the gaming atmosphere, more warm towards the players. The slogan was like for the players, right? So PlayStation and Sony, or Sony Interactive Entertainment, now dubbed PlayStation Studios, really had to look at themselves in the mirror and go back to the core values of what made gaming special. And thus, we got the PlayStation 4 coming out the gate swinging. I mean, I didn't play Shadowfall like that, but, you know, literally bangers. Horizon, right? Spider-Man. I mean, I haven't got to Death Stranding yet, but it's divisive, but I guess in a good way. Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima. Like, all these games, Crash 4's coming out, you know, right? Like, all these games, that's just within the last 4 years that I could think of, well, 3. But PlayStation 4 came back to the top because Sony went back to what made gaming fun, what made gaming gaming, and they gave us that. And look at how they handling excuse me, the PS5 now. The PS5 came out with the same energy. That PlayStation event, although it's been a little bit long since we've been, you know, quarantined away, we've been really wanting to find out about the systems, and PlayStation's been a little quiet. And I have been kind of skeptical as to thinking that PlayStation kind of sort of was going in that direction again of feeling themselves. But they've done, again, some changes to their structure business-wise that seems like it actually might be helping PlayStation out. You know, with Jim Ryan taking over, Mark Cerny loves coming out talking about the internals of the hardware and software stuff. So when you look at the PlayStation 5, we got Spider-Man Miles Morales coming right off the bat of the fire heat Spider-Man to open up the showcase, right? Technically, you know, Grand Theft Auto, but really the first game that's PlayStation only was Miles Morales, and then they ended with Horizon Forbidden West, and then they present us with the system, and boy does the system look good. It's got its own confidence to it, and a lot of us are speculating that it's gonna be priced around $500, but at least this time the price makes sense for the PS5. And they're already coming out the gate with their own accessories, such as a charge station, the HD camera, hopefully it's full HD, the Pulse headset, which is supposed to be a much better version of the Platinum headset for PlayStation 4. You look at how they're handling the PS5, and they're treading softly, cautiously, but confidently. And I'm glad that they don't, it seems like those vibes that I thought they were giving us before about feeling like they just didn't have to do much, they could just drop a system and call it a day. I'm glad that seems to be kind of not the case. I mean, when you think about it, it took them a long time to say something about the PS5. And then you also got to look at it from the perspective of PlayStation not being present at conferences. Like, it's been, I think, what, 3 years now that Sony has not been at E3? Because they weren't at it last year, and they weren't at it in 2018, I believe, either. They held their own event in 2018, I think. But nonetheless, when you think about those little moves, it makes you kind of scared, because you're like, yo, Sony, what you doing? What you doing? But it's good to see that they're actually trying, and they've learned from those mistakes. And that's why this former head, you know, or former executive, Shahid Ahmad, can say what he says about PlayStation, because it is the truth. PlayStation 3 failed, and they had to really do some self-reflection to bring such a monster of a machine and atmosphere at that with the PlayStation 4 and now the PlayStation 5. if you want to talk about the PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series X, just in terms of hardware or like buying into the system, PlayStation is doing a better job than Xbox, true. But what Xbox is doing that PlayStation is now going to have to look into is the Game Pass and what that is doing, such as, you know, being able to get games day one for $15 a month versus having to wait for the game to finally come to, if not PlayStation Plus members at some point. Maybe it goes to PlayStation Now. PlayStation has to look at doing something with PlayStation Now to really compete with Microsoft, because that's where Microsoft is going to start winning, is the value for games. And although PlayStation and Sony's doing a very good job at giving us very good games, can that be sustainable? That is the question. But I thought I'd bring this to you. I found it very interesting about PlayStation. Let me know down your thoughts below. What did you think about the PS3? What did you think about that time period? What do you think about the PS4? And what are you looking forward to with the PS5? Answer any of those questions down in the comments below. But if you haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button on this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure you guys hit that notification bell so that way you stay informed and YouTube lets you know when I drop videos. But your boy Vrsatile signing out. And until the next video, wait for it.